This video is brought to you by Sosoi. Sosoi, the innovators of spikeboarding, stand-up spike, and the creators of the original skateboard spike. Sosoi, become the motor.
Hi folks, and welcome to another Sosoi spikeboarding video. Today we're going to talk about stopping your board, and please keep in mind that you are not watching a sport about downhill. This speed that you're going to see here is about as fast as you want to go. This is much more like cross-country skiing. This is a cadence break. We're going to cover it a few times in slow motion as well as freeze frame. So remember, all you longboarders looking at this is not longboarding. We don't need to slide, we don't want to slide, and we actually never want to slow down. We're showing you this braking technique so you can get yourself slowed down off of 25-mile-an-hour climbs at the maximum. This is probably still under 25 miles an hour, and this is far more effective than a foot drag, because it's not going to wear out your shoes like crazy, and it's going to work in the rain. So let's wait for this freeze frame and go over a little bit about how this all happens, because there's a little bit of a method to the madness. So what we have here is the beginning of braking, which of course is always assessing what the heck is coming up. And the first thing we do is set up the front foot. You need to set it up perfectly parallel so it can accept your weight. Then put your spike in a neutral position. So you're going to grab it by the middle where it weighs very little and get it perfectly parallel to yourself and prepare to get up on one leg. Then take the leg over to the side, all your weight balanced on the supporting leg, and come in with your heel. You want to come in with your heel and start pushing everything backwards, 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 and backwards, keeping your arms balanced on both sides and your ass pointed down and your shoulders and your head behind everything that you're trying to slow down. And as you begin to slow down, keep your cadence slower and slower. You can let the board drift back until you have finally come to a complete stop. So now let's go over those basic concepts again. You are to set up your front foot, put your head back over your shoulders over your hips, and your hips go down. And your heel comes in first as you begin the cadence break, right? And those are the principles of the cadence break. Now, before we go into covering that cadence break again, let's take a look at a different approach to the same exact descent that we just did, but scrubbing a little speed at the top of the hill with just a little bit of carving. So that same exact descent need not be as fast as we had gone, fast enough to need a cadence break at the bottom. With just a little bit of mild carving, if you select the right high side, low side loop, you're going to be able to get to the bottom of your high side loop. Here we come into the turn, and you're not going to need to cadence break at all. And let's take a look at that again in slow motion so we really understand what kind of terrain you want to find. You want to be able in spikeboarding to find a high side, low side loop that offers just enough upside to keep your workout interesting, and then not need to do any kind of sliding or cadence braking or foot braking. So as you see, way up here on the top side of this higher side of the course, we'd already scrubbed at least 5 or 6 turns, and that's a little twig that we probably hit. So keep your eyes peeled on anything that might be on the pavement. And we're just going to rock the board back and forward on the rails. Notice the feet are totally right on top of the rails. The front foot is on that right rail, and that rear foot is on that left rail. And as we just scrub a little bit of speed, we get way below 18, 19 miles an hour. So as we come into this right-hand turn, we're going to be able to peek over our shoulder, take a look at the traffic, and if we needed to stop, we could do a quick cadence break there. As you can see, we're adding even a little more speed just to keep things rolling. So find yourself a good low side, high side loop, and get your work done going up the high side. And then when you come off of it, headed to the low side, just carve off a little speed, and if it's a perfect loop, you'll never touch the ground. So let's take a look at this descent another time so you guys can really feel feel secure in understanding that this sport, if you terrain select, if you find the right perfect terrain, which is all over, it's all over the place, just don't head towards big steep hills. Here's that hill again, a little bit of carving at the top. We even tucked in behind the cyclist. That picks up a little speed for us, and then just carved off the speed again, came up on this turn, took a peek into the traffic, wasn't there, bang, back straight up to the high side. Okay folks, here we go. Let's see this cadence break a few more times just to get the hang of it. Here's live time, there's the setup, and there is the cadence break coming in on the heel with the arms out and balanced as if you're on a tightrope. Head back, over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips, hips go down, straight down toward the ground. And let's try it again with the other leg. See it in real time. And of course we're already heel to toe switch kicking, so our setup is already there as we're accelerating into this turn. And the important part, landing on the heel and pushing back. Landing on the heel, pushing back, and keeping in control left and right. Let's see it a little bit in slow motion. If you know your hill already, you already know every nook and cranny of it. Obviously when you come to your descents, come to them slowly and gain speed over time. There goes the spike to the other side. Our setup, our foot is perfectly parallel in the middle of the board, and just banging out one cadence stop after the other and just doing the reverse of pushing. So instead of leaning forward and pushing forward, you're just going to cadence break backwards just a little bit. This is a pretty powerful climb. We suggest you start on flat ground and begin to cadence break as soon as you start riding a board. Even 1-2 miles an hour for you beginners. Just cadence break. Set yourself up in the middle and get your arms to the side, your head back, shoulders back, and point your hips down. Here we go on the other side of the leg. You want to keep everything symmetrical, including your cadence break. Practice your cadence break on both sides because you're going to need it on both sides. And here we go. So you set it up and down with the heel. Notice the heel is hitting first, followed by the ball of the foot, and keeping the arms out for balance and slowing the board down to a complete stop. So let's go over this a few more times in a little different way as we keep it static and keep the camera static. As you see, we're just demonstrating that the head needs to go back. Everything needs to go back. That's what you're trying to do, is stop the board. So let's take a look at it a little bit from the side. Once you get your setup, your spike goes out to the side. You get your weight balanced. You get your weight back. Put your head back. Head over shoulders. Shoulders over hips. The heel is going to go down first, and then your hips are going to go down, and then the leg is going to bounce back and back. And keep your arms up and keep them swinging. As you see, it'll just help you balance them equally on both sides. Try not to lean forward at all. Leaning forward is what you do when you push. So when you stop, you want to keep everything going backwards. You're spiking, left to right. You set yourself up. You're going to stop, put yourself back in your seat. Keep everything balanced over the hips. Keep the head over the shoulders, and then lock right around the groin area into a square, and do not chase your foot out. It's a losing proposition. If you happen to catch your foot, pick it up, start it again, but do not chase the foot out. Keep the hips going down, down. That's what you want to concentrate on. So here we go. We're going to take a little ride up the hill, and we're going to stop 3 times here for you at different speed intervals. And this is the exact same hill you've just seen live off the back of the bike. Here comes the setup, the balance, and the cadence break. And those are the kinds of speeds you should begin your practice with. So you should be able to balance on one leg and glide way before you even try this cadence breaking. So here it is again, a little faster, glide, and cadence break. Keep the arms up, keep the weight back. And we'll do it one more time. Head up this hill just a little bit faster. and show you how we can actually gauge the speed, gauge our braking distance, and come in fairly quickly and make our stop and not overshoot it. And with a little skill, you'll begin to do the same. Here we come, we set up the glide, and we begin to cadence brake, and all the way to our desired stop. And that is the cadence brake. Okay folks, there is another way to stop boards, and people have been doing this for a long time, and that is just to drag your foot. It's not a braking technique that we advocate very much for, because if you need it, it's because you're in a crazy emergency. And we try not to be in emergencies, and we never go for it in spikeboarding. So let's break this down into slow motion, see what happens. We are kicking, so obviously our setup leg is supporting us very well, and we're going to be able to go into a glide and then drop our heel into the ground, keeping our head over our shoulders and our shoulders over our hips, and making everything stay backwards. Tighten up our groin area. There goes the glide. Down goes the foot. If it begins to slide, pick it up, don't chase it, put it back down, drill it into the ground. Keep your arms up and very well balanced. So we're going to see this again. And remember, foot braking is not something you want to get in the habit of doing. Try to keep your speed in check and use that cadence brake. More than anything, terrain selection, and don't brake at all. So here comes the setup. We're kicking, so obviously we're in a good support position as soon as we get back out onto the glide. And so the leg comes out. And as soon as it goes out, we're gliding well, and we're preparing to go ahead and drill that foot into the ground. Bang, there it goes. And we want to make sure that our hips are going down. And if our leg goes out at all, we want to pick it up immediately. Don't chase it out. Pick it up and put it down again, and keep all the weight back. Again, don't worry too much about foot braking, and try not to do it. You might need to practice it a little just in case you need it, but again, cadence brake.
This video is brought to you by Sosoi. Sosoi, the innovators of spikeboarding, stand-up spike, and the creators of the original skateboard spike. Sosoi, become the motor.